千里之行，始于足下。A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together. Welcome to Tao Talks with Derek Lin, where we take a deep dive into the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu. I would like to extend a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining us. I would like to invite you to center your thoughts and direct your attention to this moment in time, to the here and now, to be fully present and mindfully aware as we all ready ourselves for this sacred process in the Tao with one another. And at the end of the day, this is precisely why he felt that it was so important to draw attention to it, repeating the same line multiple ways within the same chapter in order to underline, underscore its importance. So we need to direct the same kind of attention, the same kind of importance to it ourselves, focusing on great misfortune as it is connected with the self. And the first task for us is to be clear on exactly what the self is referring to. We start with the physical self. The physical self is simply your body. So, what exactly are the troubles or misfortune that the physical self can lead us into? Well, in the previous chapter, chapter 12, it talks a lot about the 5 colors, the 5 sounds, and 5 flavors. These are all manifestations of the material world. Because we have sensory input, we are constantly tempted and distracted by all of these manifestations. They provide us with all these colorful distractions, sensations, pleasures, thrills. It would be very easy, especially for those without guidance, to be pulled off the path and end up becoming lost among the world of the 5 colors, 5 sounds, and the 5 flavors. Another way that the physical self can get us into problems or issues is, well, a natural part of life. From birth, the physical self is subjected to discomfort, pain, injuries, illnesses, the process of aging, and the prospects of death. So these are unavoidable. We all experience them from greater to lesser extents. They're ever present. At any time, you can stub your toes, you can unintentionally hit something, cause yourself some pain or discomfort. In any particular day, we can get sick, we can accidentally injure ourselves, and even if nothing bad happens, even if we don't stub our toes, we go through a day without stumbling, falling, etc. Even on a good day, we're still just aging. The next day, you and I are a day older. And when we have enough of these days, that add up to weeks, months, and years, we begin to feel the toll that the years take on us. Sooner or later, we feel the weakening effects of aging, and we know that we are approaching, slowly but surely, the end of this lifetime. So, unavoidable, inevitable, affecting all of us, and it's part of the problems or issues that the self can cause from the physical perspective. And there's one more category. If you think about our physical selves, it is also inevitable that we link it to physical appearance. We can become overly attached to physical beauty and external appearance. And from experience, we know that it can be deceptive. So that's another way that physicality can cause problems or issues for us. Whether it's by being misled by someone else due to appearance or excessive focus on the appearance that we project to others. And for that reason, in chapter 2 of the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu specifically pointed out, when the world knows beauty as beauty, ugliness arises. We begin to divide and categorize. Someone is good looking, not great looking, so-so, and everything in between. So that tends to be a cause of consternation. Now, aside from the physical self, what about the mental aspects of oneself? So we can talk about the mental self. The physical self is the body, the mental self is the mind. And when Lao Tzu talks about the self, he's actually including both. So in this chapter that we're studying right now, 13, Lao Tzu is pointing out how the insecure self, your mind, is fearful of being criticized or fearful of losing the good opinions of others. That is the main theme of this right here, of this chapter. Now, there's more because chapter 13 is also pointing out how the self can be startled by praise, not just criticism. It can be startled by praise, and it can worry about the loss of criticisms, like what's going on. There used to be a lot of criticisms, and now it's silence. I don't like this. That type of feeling. So whether it's gain or loss, favor or disgrace, the mind becomes unsettled and anxious. So there's another way that the mind can lead us into problems. This is common. This is something that we see in our world all the time. When the self cannot sense its oneness with everything, it sees instead the illusion of separateness and division. What do I mean by that? Here I'm talking about us versus them. I'm talking about the tribal mentality. We see this almost every day. Sometimes we see it in sports team rivalries. Other times we see it in the polarization of our society. Either way, it plays out the same. People pick a side and then they cast themselves in the role of heroes versus the villains on the other side. In sports rivalries, it's perhaps one city versus another, one college or university versus another. We're better than you guys is the message. And in a note of discomfort, we only need to dig a little deeper to go from we're better than you to the underlying assumption, which is we are superior, you are inferior. That is division, that is separateness. Very common and therefore taken for granted, but then it also goes to extremes, which has all kinds of detrimental effects on our society. So that's definitely another huge way that the mind, the mental self, can get us, all of us, into trouble. And let's talk about one more. The deluded mind. The deluded self, mental self, identifies with and associates value to things that are really outside of it, outside of the self. Your net worth, whatever titles you may possess, your position in the social hierarchy in an organization, your possessions. So all these together, power, positions, possessions, these are the things that delude the mental self or the mind, and we're fooled into thinking that these have actual value or worth in the grand scale, in the grand scheme of things in the universe or existence. When this is something that was observed by the ancient sages and Lao Tzu, he worked it into the Tao Te Ching. He wrote about goods that are difficult to acquire make one cause damage. Damage to life, damage to one's relationships, family, loved ones, all kinds of damage. So I wanted to present this slide to make it clear exactly what it is we're talking about when we're referring to the self. It's this right here. Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.